They're getting rid of Jobcorp because no one's joining the military.
They're closing Jobcorp at the same time that they're having an enlistment shortage in the military.
They want young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 to be homeless because that's what's going to happen. Jobcorp is scheduled to end 99 facilities by June 30th, which will leave young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 who don't have a place to go. They will be homeless.
This is what I mean when I say don't pay attention to what they're saying. Just pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to their actions. They are shutting down the Job Corps program nationwide. If you don't know what the Job Corps program is, consider yourself to have a very fortunate upbringing. If you don't know what Job Corps is, you probably had a very fortunate upbringing or a decent upbringing.
They had us go to the wreck at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
So it looks like African Americans have found out the real reason why Jobcorp was stopped. At the same time where they have an opening for people to join the military. See, if you got people of color, you take away the opportunity to change their lives, two things are going to happen. Crime, they go to jail, or else, what are you forcing them to do? Recruitment. And if a person did not complete high school, and then now they have this thing that gives them a chance to change their lives, and then you're taking that away, what are you trying to communicate? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Natskoda S. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, like, comment, and share. Let me know what you think in the comment section about the closure of Jobcorp. All right. Now, first things first, I want to appreciate y'all for subscribing to my channel, supporting me, the super chats. Shout out Charlie. Shout out everybody that is a member on my channel. By the way, yeah, my next video, I'm going to be shouting out my members. I'm so excited. But yeah, thank you for the support. But let's talk about this, man. Black people, how do you feel about the situation?
They're getting rid of Jobcorp because no one's joining the military. And rightfully so. Like, who the fuck actually wants to go and fight for a country that's not fighting for them? At this point specifically in time in America. Like, that's just not what people want to do. And I feel like initially they got rid of DEI because they thought it was going to make a bigger splash and it was going to affect a certain amount of, marginalized groups. But it didn't actually do that. And it affected other people. And so now their next effort is like, oh, well, we'll just get rid of Job Corps because that actually is something that benefits, marginalized groups and is helping them. And so in doing that, I don't know if they're thinking like, oh, if we get rid of this, well, now these people will think that they have to join the military and fight for this country that's not fighting for them. But like, I just don't see people joining the military, especially with the knowing that this country doesn't really give a fuck about what is going on in their lives. And like, the country is not fighting for them at all. So then what would be the point of that? Because even if they did a draft, it would still be like, well, we're not going to go. And then what is the government going to do? Say that everyone is now a prisoner because they decided not to get drafted into wars? Like, and okay, if everyone's now in prison because they didn't want to go fight for the war, then you still have no soldiers. So like, this is just not a smart decision on their end. Like, were they even thinking? Like, it doesn't even make any sense.
They want young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 to be homeless because that's what's going to happen. Jobcorp is scheduled to end 99 facilities by June 30th, which will leave young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 who don't have a place to go. They will be homeless. They are all up my FYP right now, showing themselves having to pack with nowhere to go. A lot of people don't even know what Jobcorp is. It is an organization that is designed, it's almost like college, but it allows ages 16 to 24 young adults and minors to get skills, skills for being an automotive technician, trade skills, being an electrician or being a plumber. And essentially, they live there, they live on campus, they build a community, they are paid, it's very little wages, but they can also utilize financial aid for their material and for their everyday living necessities and expenses. And now they're just going to take it away. They're going to take it away because they want low-income people to perish. That's what they want. That's what they want. And yes, there's a lot of people of color who depend on Job Corps. Black, brown, And there are some that are white, low-income individuals who don't have anywhere to go, who won't have anywhere to go. They are packing, they are crying, they are losing their family, essentially, and they're losing their resources. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're depending on the government again. Depending on the government, not so much. They are utilizing the resources provided. What is so different about Job Corps than going to college and getting financial aid and getting a Pell Grant? The only difference is that when they get out of that, they are going to have a job. They're going to have a trade skill. Y'all complain nobody wants to do this work and nobody wants to work. Now you're taking away the only people who will be trained to do said work.
They're closing Job Corps at the same time that they're having an enlistment shortage in the military. Job Corps has 119 centers nationwide. They serve about 25,000 students this year, but prior to COVID, they served about 60,000 students. Job Corps specifically makes sure that low-income people between the ages of 16 to 24 can learn a vocational trade. It makes sure that people that are most vulnerable have an employable skill that they can use in the real world. Republicans speak out of both sides of their mouths because on one hand, they'll say,
electricians, plumbers, we need more of those in our country,
while also closing down the same program that provides those things. This is also a way of propping up the for-profit prison system. One of the main demographics that uses Job Corps are children or young adults that have court-ordered supervision or have a criminal record. The president said he wants to build more for-profit prisons, so now you have a demographic of people who can't learn a skill or a trade, also have criminal records and court-ordered supervision. Where do you think they go? The damage that this administration is going to do is going to be irreversible for generations to come.
The Job Corps is closing here in the city of Albany, and that leaves us with a little over 500 students that were here on this campus, and 19% of those students are labeled as homeless. We have a little over 250 jobs that'll be leaving the city of Albany. And while this is not the city of Albany government's fault, this is a time for our local and state leadership to step up, because we'd be stupid to act powerless in this situation. Because while this school is still here, while this building is still here, while this campus is still here, what could this become? Could this become a Southwest Georgia regional hub for trade skills training? Could this become something major that the city brings on to start training workforce? Because if we're training workforce, then we can invite industry to come here. But if we don't have any workforce for industry, they'll never come. But if Doherty County School System could train workforce in adults, why can't the city of Albany do the same thing? So my question to leadership is, are we going to allow this opportunity now to pass us by? Or are we going to lead? Are our leaders going to lead? And if they don't want to lead, they need to step aside and let somebody else do it.
They had us go to the rec at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carlton Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
The ones who are trying to get it right. This is why I'm so pissed off. These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids who are trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
This is what I mean when I say don't pay attention to what they're saying. Just pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to their actions. Now, for those of you who haven't heard or who haven't seen, they are shutting down the Job Corps program nationwide. If you don't know what the Job Corps program is, consider yourself to have a very fortunate upbringing. If you don't know what Job Corps is, you probably had a very fortunate upbringing or a decent upbringing. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, the Job Corps program was a program that was initiated all around the country. I know personally, growing up down in Miami, the Job Corps program was a very, very vital program in my community. What the Job Corps program did was provided an opportunity for kids and young adults up to about the age of 20 or 21, I believe. It provided them with an alternative to those who weren't necessarily able to thrive or function in a normal high school environment. Also, it gave an opportunity for kids who are homeless. It provided them an opportunity to get an education, to get their GED, to get their high school diploma. It also provided them an opportunity to learn a trade and get job skills that they could use to be productive members of society, to be productive members of the community. It also provided housing. Again, it accepted homeless kids. So what it did, some of these programs around the country in these Job Corps, it provided housing, it provided food, it provided stabilization for these people's lives. And again, it provided an opportunity to let them become productive and learn skills that would make them able to earn a living and earn money. Now, in the beginning of the video, I said, don't pay attention to what they said, pay attention to what they're doing. It was funny watching the news last week, and with all this thing going on about Harvard, one of those things that the press secretary said, I won't say that lady name, one of the things that the press secretary was saying was how this current administration was going to take all the money that they were getting from these from Harvard and these other universities that weren't, quote unquote, willing to capitulate to what they wanted. They were going to take that money, those funds, and give them to trade schools and trade programs and redistribute it. Well, if that was the case, why are we shutting down a vital program that helped a lot of people, a lot of underprivileged people, a lot of people in these minority communities get those skills, get those trades that you were talking about, develop these necessary skills that they need to survive. So again, don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they do, and hopefully something happens. But if not, man, RIP to Job Corps.
I think I was shocked. I think all of us were. So those are going to be youth that have income that's below the federal poverty level. We see a lot of youth that have not succeeded in traditional school settings.
Because of the pause of operations set by the U.S. Department of Labor, Babs says by June 5th, students living at the center will have to be gone.
It was all they had. It's beyond a job training. It is the only support system that they have.
And all operations paused, temporary or not. Babs feels this experience will have a long-lasting effect.
I think for a lot of them, it feels like a repeat of what they've already experienced in their lives.